Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome to this video, guys. My name is Liaquat. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, enjoying yourselves. We are going through Mukhtasar al-Qudoori. If you guys are not familiar with this channel, please check out my videos. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button, share videos with others, and let's get on with this. So this series is dedicated to helping you guys to understand the Hanafi Fiqh, basically. So we have reached Kitab al-Ijarah. This is the lesson 2 of Kitab al-Ijarah. Let's crack on then. So yajuzu istijar. So first of all, I try to explain the words to you. So yajuzu is permissible, istijar is to hire, and then aradi is lands, zira'a is growing crops. Mustajir is the person who's hiring. Shurb or shirb, the kasra, is the water access. So water access. Tariq is path. Yazra'u, zara'a yazra'u, to grow something in the land. Then you have yastajiru is to hire. Saha is a plot of land. Or yaghris, nakhlan, shajaran, tree. Inqadat, to expire, to end. Ijarah is to hire. Yaqla'u is to uproot, to pull out. Bina is structure. Gharas. Yusallimha is to hand over. Farigha is empty. And then yakhtar is to choose. Then you have gharama yaghramu. It means to make someone pay a penalty. Maqlu'an, it means uprooted, from the word qala'a. Yarda is to be pleased with. Then you have istijar, to hire. Dawab is animals, cattle, animals. And then you have hamal, which means the carrying, to carry. I see a lot of these words are words that you guys have come across before, so it's nothing new really. Lubs is to wear. Atlaqa, it means to make it unconditioned. And then you have thawb, clothing. Arkaba yurkibu irkab, to make someone ride. Albasa yulbisu daminan is someone who is has to compensate, someone is liable. Then you have atabat, it means to perish. Then you have talafa, same thing as well as before, perish. Yakhtalifu, it means it changes. Biikhtilaf al-musta'mil, the user. Then you have dhaman, sukna is residence, to live in there, and then that's it. Right, so these are the words that we have over here. Let's have a check and let's try and do the tarkeeb of this now. Again, you guys out there crazy for tarkeebs. So yajuzu istijarul aradi. Right, so mudaf ilayh. It's the file of yajuzu lizira'ati. So new sentence. Lil mustajiri. This is khabar muqaddam. Ashirbu wa tariqu. Wa in lam yushtarat or yastaritu. Depends how you want to say. So ولا يصح العقد حتى يسمي ما يزرع فيها أو يقول على أن يزرع. أن has given it فتحة. فيها ما شاء. ويجوز أن يستأجر الساحة مفعول به ليبني فيها أو يغرس فيها نخلا أو شجرا. فإذا انقضت مدة الإجارة, this is going to be the file of انقضت, لزمه أن يقلع البناء. Okay, so يقلع فعل فاعل, بناء is the مفعول به, والغرس is عطف onto بناء. Okay, so يسلمها ويسلمها عطف onto يقلع. فارغة, so فارغة is the حال. إلا أن يختار صاحب الأرض أن يغرم له قيمة ذلك. مقلوعا is the حال. فيملكه أو يرضى بتركه جار مجرور على حاله. فيكون البناء لهذا والأرض لهذا. So بناء is the اسم of يكون, and that's عطف onto it. ويجوز استئجار الدواب للركوب والحمل. So this is عطف onto ركوب. جاز له أن يركبها. يركبها من شاء. وكذلك إن استأجر, and likewise إن استأجر ثوبا is the مفعول به لللبس وأطلق أطلق. Okay, so maybe unconditional. فإن قال على أن يركبها فلان, ركب يركب, فلان is the fa'il, أو so يلبس, okay, يلبس عن الثوب مفعول به فلان, so this is going to be the fa'il of يلبس. فأركبه أركب فأركبه غيره أو ألبسه غيره. Right, so this is now from باب أركب باب ألبس. كان ضامنا خبر. إن عطبت الدابة أو تلف الثوب تلف يتلف. كذلك كل ما يختلف باختلاف المستعمل. وأما العقار وما لا يختلف باختلاف المستعمل فلا ضمان عليه. فإذا شرط سكن واحد بعينه فله خبر مقدم أن يسكن ويسكن غيره. Or يسكن غيره, you can have. Okay, so that's basically the tarkib of it. Then let's look at the masail. Let's see what masail are being mentioned over here. Now this section, it was quite long. I actually had to shorten some of the lines over here because otherwise it was going to take too long. Right, so let's say for example you have a plot of land. This is a plot of land and you want to hire, so actually let's make this a bit more visible. Okay, this is a plot of land. In this plot of land, there is a section in there that you want to hire. Are you allowed to hire this highlighted section? Right, let me just put it in a different color. So this highlighted section, I want to hire this land out. Can I do that? Am I allowed to? Yes, you can. You can highlight it. However, the person that's hiring, he has access to water. So let's say this water is over here in another part. He must be able to have access to water to be able to irrigate the land. This is called shirb. And he must also have access to the land path. So let's say, for example, this is the path. So he's got two things automatically, even if they're not mentioned in the contract. He has the right of water, because otherwise, without the water, the land is not going to function. That's the rule with regards to leasing. If you ever lease anything out, you must understand that the leasing will only be valid if that person leases something which is beneficial. If it's not beneficial, if nothing is happening, then they can't benefit from it, then the leasing is going to be considered to be defective. So, yajuzu is jaiz. Yajuzu istijar al-aradi lizirati. It's permissible to hire land, rent land, for growing stuff on there. للمستأجر الشرب والطريق. The mustajir, the tenant, the one that's hiring the land, he has the right of shirb, which is water rights, and path. وإن لم يشترط or يشترط, even if he did not stipulate this in the contract, or if it was not stipulated in the contract, doesn't matter, he still has the right of that. Now, this contract will only be valid, besides this, it will only be valid when the person, number one, he mentions what he's going to grow. Mentions the stuff that he's going to grow. Okay, that's the first thing. So, for example, let's say he's going to grow, I don't know, he's going to grow, let's say, he's going to grow wheat. Okay, so he mentions wheat, that's fine. He's going to grow wheat, so now he is allowed to, because some types of things that you grow in land damage the land, and maybe that's going to harm the landowner. So he has to be clear with the landowner of what exactly he wants to rent. Right? So he wants to rent the land, but what is he going to grow? He's going to grow something which the landlord is happy with, is okay with it. Or the other option is, or number two, is that he just leaves it open. The contract is open, mutlaq, call this mutlaq. Yeah, he leaves it open to whatever he wants. So in that case, he can grow anything. So sometimes the landowner might not really care about what you grow. He's just saying whatever you want to grow, you can grow. So this is again another important aspect of this. All right, so let's have a go at this then. وَلَا يَصِحُّ الْعَقْدُ, the contract will not be valid حَتَّى يُسَمِّيَ, until the tenant mentions مَا يَزْرَعُ فِيهَا, what he's going to grow in it, so like wheat. Or he says عَلَى أَنْ يَزْرَعْ فِيهَا مَا شَاءَ. He leaves it open and says he's going to grow anything in there. Then it's fine. Right? So he says, I'm going to grow whatever I want. The guy goes, fine, grow whatever you want. I'm not really bothered about the land. That's okay as well. Okay, now this is when you're renting land to grow stuff on there. People do this with allotments. If you have allotments in the UK, I don't know about in America or other places, but in the UK you can actually rent out land to grow stuff on there. Now let's say, for example, you want to just hire a piece of land. So let's say, for example, this is the plot of land. So I'm going to call this plot A. So I'm going to call plot A. So you hire out plot A, and you either want to build something on there, so you want to build, okay, or you want to grow something on it. All right, so the contract goes through. So you decide now to build, I don't know what you build. Maybe like, let's say, for example, you built a temporary sort of accommodation. Some people might have this temporary accommodation. That's supposed to be temporary accommodation structure. Or you grow some plants in there. All right, so some plants. You've grown these plants in there. Nice. And this is allowed, totally permissible. You're hiring the land. Now, because remember, the whole point of Ijarah is usufruct, manafi. And those manafi have to be known. What do you want from it? So if that's the case, يجوز أن يستأجر الساحة, this plot A, you're allowed to hire it out. ليبني فيها, in order to build on it. أو يغرس فيها, or to grow on it. نخلا, date palms or trees or plants. فإذا انقضت مدة الإجارة. Now let's say the time period has now expired now. So let's say the time period was, let's say from January to, I don't know, July, let's say. The time period has now expired. So 6 months is up now. All right, so full 6 months. So what happens in this case is, at this point over here in July, when the contract is up, let's call, this is the guy that has rented, okay? He now has a tough decision now, because what he has to do is he has one of three options that he can do. The default state is he has to give the land back. So number one, he gives land back exactly how he got it. Yeah, you got to give it back exactly how he got it, meaning he's got to uproot, take down the building, take down all the growth that he's grown. He's got to put it all out and give the land back as it was. This is option number one. That's why he says لَزِمَهُ أَنْ يَقْلَعَ الْبِنَاء وَالْغَرْسِ. He has to uproot the building and the ghars, وَيُسَلِّمَهَا فَارِغَةً, and he has to hand over the land free, empty as it was before. Right, so this is the default state. Otherwise, إِلَّا أَنْ يَخْتَارَ صَاحِبُ الْأَرْضِ, unless صاحب الأرض, number one, he says, that's fine, you can keep all the stuff on here. Keep it all on here. I don't mind. Right, so keep, and I'll pay. I'll buy it off you. So he's basically buying off him this stuff. So let's say the house, for example, I don't know, it costs 1,000. And the plants cost, let's say, £100. Now he's not going to pay the full 1,000. What he's going to pay for is, he's going to pay for the value of this, which is maqlu, meaning uprooted. So uprooted and dismantled. Dismantled, he's going to pay, I don't know, let's say £600. And the plant is, let's say, £90. Right, so he's only going to pay £600 and £90 for it. That's all. So, إِلَّا أَنْ يَخْتَارَ, unless the صاحب الأرض, landowner, he chooses أن يغرم له, to pay this guy قيمة. So I wrote down يغرم means penalty, but here it can mean pay. The قيمة of ذلك, the value of these two items, مقلوعا, dismantled, taken out. So فيملكه, yeah, and then he becomes the owner. So the landlord actually becomes the owner of these things. That's option number two. What's option number three? Option number three is that if the guy says, leave it on my land. So he's okay with leaving it on his land. He goes to him, you can leave it, it's fine. Whenever you want to come, you can take it. So he allows him to leave it on the land. And the owner is who? This guy is still the owner, okay? The tenant is still the owner. أو يرضى بتركه على حاله فيكون البناء. Or he is happy, the tenant is happy with leaving it, or the landlord is happy with leaving it على حاله فيكون البناء. So therefore the structure will be لهذا, for this guy. وَالْأَرْضُ, and the land will belong to this guy, meaning the land. So let's just draw the landlord before you guys get confused. So this is the landlord, the land belongs to him, and the plants and the building belongs to him. Does that make sense? So just to summarize, if you rent out a piece of land to grow something on there or to build something on there, when the time of the contract comes to an expiration, finishes, you have to give the land back as you got it. Unless the landowner wants to buy the stuff off you, or he just wants to leave it on the land, right? He doesn't mind, he's a good guy, he wants to leave it on the land. Okay, next. وَيَجُوزُ إِسْتِئْجَارُ الدَّوَابِ. Now what about animals now? So animals, when it comes to hiring out animals, so let's say for example, there's animals, so you're hiring out animals for people to either ride or carry. So these are two normal sort of like duties they had in the past, to give people rides and to carry loads stuff. Are you allowed to hire out animals for this purpose? Of course you are. Yes, you are, because it's a nafa, isn't it? So you hire this out. So the rule is that if you hire out for riding or carrying, then technically you can actually put anyone you want on there to ride. So the guy who's hiring it can actually, he can make ride his brothers or his sisters, or I don't know, his uncles and aunties and children. He wants to put them on it, as long as he doesn't damage the horse, obviously, or the animal. Yeah. So يجوز أن استئجار الدواب, is permissible to hire animals للركوب, to ride and to carry things. جاز له أن يركبها من شاء, it's permissible for him, so it's permissible for this guy to put whoever he wants on there. He doesn't have, it's not necessary that only he rides it, basically, right? He can put other people on there as well. So as long as he does not damage the horse, remember that. Next, وَإِنْ إِسْتَأْجَرَ. Okay, what about clothing now? So let's say for example you got some clothes and you hide some clothes. So these clothes that you've hired, is it only the guy can wear them, the guy who's hired them? Is it only him, he can wear them? So he says, وَكَذَلِكَ, and likewise, إِنْ اسْتَأْجَرَ ثَوْبًا, if he hires out, he rents some thobe, لِلُّبْسِ وَأَطْلَقَ, and he made it unconditional. He didn't say only you have to ride it, or only you have to wear it. In both cases, yeah, in the riding and this, he's left it open. Now, if however he says, so this is if he leaves it open, right, open there, open leasing. But if he restricts it, if on the other hand, he says only you, yeah, only you, then in this case, what is going to happen when the person hires it? So he says, فَإِنْ قَالَ, if he was to say, عَلَى أَنْ يَرْكَبَهَا فُلَانٌ, only so-and-so can ride on it, or يَلْبَسَ الثَّوْبِ فُلَانٌ, only so-and-so can wear it. Like let's say for example, he said, only this guy, a guy of the weight of this much, yeah, this guy can only wear it, this guy can only wear it. Then he actually allows, this guy actually allows, I don't know, his cousin Raja, he lets his cousin Raja ride on it, or cousin Raja wear the clothes. This guy was not in the contract, he was not permitted to ride it, it was just this guy was allowed to. فَأَرْكَبَهُ غَيْرَهُ, so he's done is, he's actually put someone else onto it, he's made someone else mount it, or أَلْبَسَهُ غَيْرَهُ, or he's given the clothing to someone else. كَانَ ضَامِنًا إِنْ أَتَبَتْ الدَّابَةُ, if he is liable if the animal perishes or the clothing gets damaged. So if the clothing does not get damaged, then he doesn't have to pay a thing. But if the animal gets damaged, or if the clothes get damaged accidentally, this is, yeah, without gross negligence, then this guy is going to be liable, basically. Yeah, liability is going to be upon him. Does that make sense? So let me just summarize again. So if you're hiring an animal, or if you're hiring out clothes, if it's mentioned open contract that anyone can wear it, anyone can ride on it, then it's fine, anyone can wear or ride on it. And if it does accidentally get damaged, you're not responsible. But if it was mentioned in the contract that only this particular guy can wear it, and what you done was you put someone else onto it, or you made someone else wear it and it got damaged, even if it's accidental, then you're liable, you're the one that has to pay compensation. Now this rule, it says كذلك, likewise كل ما يختلف باختلاف المستعمل, anything that differs with the differing of the user. So if we were to write this rule down just to kind of make it a bit more, so let's say this rule applies to, in fact, let me just make this like this. So see how it's nice when you can see the example. Let me know in the comments if you guys enjoy looking at the visual aids when you're understanding this masala, because I love looking at visual aids. So this, we're going to call this is those things that are اختلاف المستعمل. اختلاف المستعمل. They differ with the differing of the person. Yeah, so if a person uses it, these things obviously differ depending on the weight of the person, the size of the person. But then there are those things that do not differ. لا يختلف. لا يختلف المستعمل. So in other words, whoever uses it is not really going to have an impact. This is kind of like land. So for example, let's say there's a house and you rent a house. So if you rent a house, whoever you put in the house isn't really going to damage the house. Right? So let's say this guy has rented the house. He can put whoever he wants. He can put his uncle Raja in there. He can put his cousin Raju in there. Whoever he wants to put in the house, he can put in the house, because the house is not really going to get damaged by who enters it. Right? It's strong. So he says, وَأَمَّا الْأَقَارُ, as for property, estate, وَمَا لَا يَخْتَلِفْ, and anything that does not become affected, changed, بِاخْتِلَافِ الْمُسْتَعْمِلِ, with the differing changing of the user, فَلَا ضَمَانَ عَلَيْهِ, then there is no compensation upon him. He doesn't have to pay anything, even if it gets damaged accidentally. But if there is gross negligence, then obviously he has to pay. Right? فَإِنْ شَرَطَ سُكْنَ وَاحِدٍ بِعَيْنِهِ, what if the guy had said, you're only allowed to let this guy use it. Right? Only this guy. Like, remember we said in this one, you're only allowed to let this guy or this guy. What if he says you're only allowed to let this guy live in the house, but he let someone else live in, he let these guys over here live in the property? Then what? So he says, فَلَهُ أَنْ يُسْكِنَ غَيْرَهُ, it's permissible for him to allow someone else to live in there. As in, this condition is not considered to be necessary to abide by. Right? Because the house is not going to become affected by this. Does everyone understand that? So those things that become affected change, that you have to stick to the conditions in the contract about who can use it. And those ones that don't get affected, then it's fine, whoever uses it. Right? Does that make sense? Nowadays, you get cars, for example, that will say this car will only take, 50 kilos, no more than that. Now, obviously, if you put more than 50 kilos in there, then it's going to get damaged. Unlike that. Right, so let's summarize of what we learned today then. So first of all, let's have a look at this. All right, some questions for you. Are you allowed to rent out land? Answer, yes, you can rent out land. What rights does the tenant have? So the tenant has the right of water and access. Okay, next question. What things are you allowed to grow on the land? So if it's mentioned in the contract of what you can grow, then you can only grow that thing. If, however, the guy leaves it open and says he can grow anything he wants and the other guy's happy, then it's totally permissible. If a person rents out a plot of land to grow something on there or to build something on there and the time expires, then what has to happen? So one of three things. Either the stuff has to be pulled out, dismantled, taken away, and the land has to be given back. Number two, or the landlord can actually pay for the stuff, the charge that's dismantled, and keep it. Or the landlord might say, you know what, you can keep your stuff on there, the land is mine, but you can keep your stuff on there, I don't mind. Right, okay. All right, next. Is it permissible to rent out an animal to ride on or for clothes to be worn? Yes, you can. If a person was to do such a thing and he left it open, did not say who can wear it, who can ride it, is that okay? Yes, that's okay. What if he said only a specific individual of a specific weight category can ride it or wear it? Then what? Then only that person can wear it. And what if the guy who's hiring, he was to allow someone else to use it? That goes against the contract. If it gets damaged, then he is liable for it. But in all cases, if there is gross negligence, then obviously he's liable. What about a house? A house anyone can live in. What if he says only this guy can live in there? It doesn't matter. Anyone can live in there, because the rule is that anything that does not become affected by the user, then anyone can use it. And that's it, guys. So Jazakumullah khair. Thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Really appreciate it. May Allah bless all of you guys. And honestly, it means a lot to me when you guys leave feedback and you leave comments and you hit the like button. May Allah bless all of you guys. And if you guys don't want to leave feedback in the comments, you can leave feedback with me. You can send an email, inshallah, or on Curious Cat. And thank you to all my patrons for supporting my channel. May Allah bless all of you guys. I will see you guys next time, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. If you guys want to become patrons, consider becoming it. It means a lot to me. And I will see you guys next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.